Hi, I'm Ken Kessler, and welcome to the Sounds of Christmas podcast. If you're new to this podcast, I want to start by saying thanks for joining us. If you're not new to us, welcome back. Either way, I'm very glad you're here. Now, to avoid any confusion, I want to say that there won't be any music played here. This is a place for conversation. I'll talk about Christmas music and some related topics, sometimes by myself and sometimes with guests. If you're looking for music, just go to soundsofchristmas.com and click on the tree or the player on the front page or on the Listen Now page. We play the best variety of Christmas music all year long. Well, except in October, when we play the best variety of Halloween music. This particular podcast is being recorded over the July 4th weekend, and it seems like a good time to talk a little about Christmas in July. Christmas in July isn't just something cooked up by the folks at Hallmark. It can actually be traced back to a late 19th century French opera called Werther, which I may or may not be pronouncing correctly. In that opera, a group of children are singing a Christmas song in July, and another character hears them and says something like, "When you sing Christmas in July, you rush the season." That seems to be the first mention of Christmas in July, at least that we know of. In the mid-1930s, a publication called Recreation, put out by the National Recreation Association, mentioned Christmas in July, but it really got widespread notice in the movie Christmas in July that came out in 1940. In that movie, a man is tricked into thinking he won an ad slogan contest, and the prize for that was $25,000. He actually gets the check and goes on a spending spree, buying presents for family and friends. That's the connection to Christmas, and because it happened in the summer, it gets the name Christmas in July. A couple years later, churches in Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia began having Christmas in July events, where they raised donations and gifts in the hope that, doing it this early, they'd have enough time to get them distributed to missions all over the world in time for Christmas. The United States Post Office teamed up with America's Army and Navy to start their own Christmas in July themed events by the mid-40s. Their goal was to get friends and family members of servicemen overseas to get their Christmas presents shipped out so they would arrive in time for Christmas. By the 1950s, it became something of a marketing tool for advertisers, especially for television. Networks began airing Christmas episodes of TV shows in July, and retailers began having Christmas in July sales, in part to get rid of inventory so they'd have room for all the new stuff for the coming Christmas. The momentum for Christmas in July has continued to build over the years, and now in 2021, Hallmark and QVC, among others, feature Christmas in July shows and events as part of their annual programming. And streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, among others, add holiday fare to their lineups, including Christmas movies like The Polar Express and Christmas with the Cranks. Musically, a quick search on Spotify turns up hundreds of songs and albums that use the term Christmas in July. One of the most popular Christmas in July songs is probably Sleigh Ride in July, with versions by Bing Crosby, Julie London, and Dinah Shore, just to name a few. From my own personal experience, I can tell you that July is a busy month for retail as most brick and mortar stores begin preparing for Christmas. And while some like to say it's rushing the season, it's really just giving customers what they want. Some 30 years ago, I worked in a big box bookstore, and we started getting lots of big boxes of Christmas books in late June and early July. And while we tried to figure out where we'd put them, customers started coming in looking for them. Books on decorating, books with recipes, all that kind of stuff. We had to put them out to meet demand, and I imagine that's the same today, where stores also run the risk of losing customers to online retailers if they don't put that Christmas stuff out soon enough. And as far as music goes, I know many artists that are working on Christmas releases right now, and this kind of thing has been going on for decades. Mel Torme very famously wrote the Christmas song in the heat of summer, bringing in Christmas decorations to try and keep the mood festive. I know many people who host Christmas-themed podcasts and Christmas-themed websites, and this is the time of year when they shift into high gear. We're now closer to Christmas 2021 than we are to Christmas 2020, and that gets a lot of people excited, including me. I'm looking forward to finding and sharing what's new in the world of Christmas. As far as the Sounds of Christmas goes, we don't really have any particular Christmas in July plans or events. We stay on all year long to make sure there is Christmas music playing whenever you want it or need it, even in July. Behind the scenes, I'm programming the upcoming new season, which will begin November 1st, and I'm searching for new music that's either out or on the way. And I'm running down rumors, trying to find out if this is the year we're really getting new Christmas music from Cher, the Backstreet Boys, or Michael Bublé. Keep in mind, those are all rumors, and it's possible that none of them will happen. Oh, I'm also programming the Halloween music, which will play throughout the month of October. Though I've had requests to start that early, it's going to stay in October and only in October. Thanks for listening, helping me share some Christmas spirit, and for helping this podcast continue to grow. We're on about 24 different podcasting sites. Since you're listening to this now, you've obviously found us somewhere. But if there's another site you like to use for podcasts, check out our podcast page on our website to get the complete list of everywhere you can listen to the Sounds of Christmas podcast. Again, the website is www.soundsofchristmas.com. Then just click on the podcast tab. For the Sounds of Christmas station, to listen to the music, you'll need to stick with our website or our app in the Google Play Store. If you have comments or suggestions, feel free to reach out to me on social media or through our website. Thanks again, and may you always believe in Santa Claus.